Hello and welcome back to another video in the kitchen with Pen. Today I'm going to be making a bread and butter pudding, keeping on with the premise of the last video about using up all your bread. Now this is an English bread and butter pudding. I know America has a bread pudding that is totally different to an English bread pudding, so I think this probably veers more to what the Americans would call a bread pudding, but it's a bread and butter pudding. So let's have a look at our ingredients. We need 2 whole eggs and 2 egg yolks. Also in there I've put 1 ounce of sugar. We need a pint of milk. I'm just going to put this into the saucepan and start it heating gently. I use whole milk because we don't actually use a lot of milk in this house, so when I'm having milk I want proper milk, and I think it does actually make a better custard. You also need about 5 slices of buttered bread. This is the bread from yesterday, you know, the stuff that I wasn't keen on. Okay, you'll need another ounce of sugar. You'll need, for making a fruit one, you'll need a little cinnamon, and you'll need some dried fruits. I'm going to be using raisins today. Now, that's a fruit one. What you can do is you can butter your bread, and then you can spread it with jam, you can spread it with marmalade, you could spread it with chocolate spread if you really want it, or I've been thinking this morning, Biscoff. Okay, now bear with me. And then instead of using the fruit, you could chop some banana into it and then add your custard, and I think that would make an amazing bread and butter pudding. But I'm being traditional, so come on, let's watch what we do. Right then, all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the bread into triangles, and then I'm going to layer it into a buttered dish. So this is really simple, really silly, and you could do this almost with your eyes closed. So let's just, now I've cut it, let's just layer it up in the prepared tin. Now, bread and butter pudding was a favourite, or a most hideous, school pudding. It's definitely something that people my age, yes Dawn, I'm old, would have had for school dinners at both primary and senior school, or high school if you prefer. Okay, so we've got these all layered in here. Just get them in. It doesn't have to be neat and tidy. I mean, okay, if you were presenting it for some sort of competition, then yeah, you'd want it looking absolutely the bee's knees, but you know, we're just going to eat it. So I'm just going to wash my hands, and then you want about 2 ounces of mix of your fruit. I'm terrible, I'm not going to weigh it. I know how much fruit we like, and once you've made these a while, you too will know how much or how little you need. But what I will try and do is I will actually try and get some fruit between the layers, so that we're going to get a bit of fruit in each mouthful. No, it doesn't depend on how big your mouth is. You can just do that. Right, so that's it with the fruit. That's it, it's done. I can just pop that to one side now and get rid of this. Now we come on to, spare raisin, pop it in, come on to our eggs. So we just need to whisk these together, and shouldn't really have left the sugar in for as long as I did, but it was just to show you. The reason is because the sugar will actually start cooking the egg yolks. But that's it. We only need to just have then whisk together nicely. So I'm waiting on the milk to heat, and once that's heated, we'll be back to make this custard. Now, I just wanted to say, I'm using old bread. You can use anything, and yeah, dough based. So I have used in the past panettone, I have used croissants, I've used brioche, I've used hot dog buns, yes really, I have used donuts, round iced donuts. I've cut the icing off and I've used those rather than have them go to waste. So any bread based product can be used to make a bread and butter pudding. Okay, just didn't want to forget that. I have just taken the opportunity to sprinkle over a little cinnamon because again it's something that Steve and I both really like. You're not keen or not over keen on it, just put the cinnamon on top once the custard is in. If you don't like cinnamon, leave it out. You could use a mixed spice or just nothing at all. It's entirely up to you. If I was doing a chocolate one, I wouldn't use the cinnamon. Yeah, I probably would if I was doing chocolate. I would use the cinnamon. But if I was doing the Biscoff, I definitely wouldn't use the cinnamon or any other spices because there is spicing in the Biscoff. Now your milk, you don't want boiling, you want it at about blood temperature, which we are at about now. So I'm just going to add my milk gently, or fairly gently, and whisk, whisk, whisk to the egg yolks. And then we have to pop this back into the saucepan to start to thicken. This will not thicken in an instant, but you do need to make sure it doesn't catch on the bottom of your pan. So you can see I've swapped to a wooden spoon now, and I'm just going to keep stirring it until it starts to thicken. So once it's thickened, we shall come back. Okay, then as you're stirring, you can feel your custard getting thicker, and just as in the white sauce video that we had for the lasagna the other day, you'll know that it's ready if you can do this on the back of a spoon. And you see, and the custard's nice, it doesn't run together. So switch that off, and then we'll be pouring it into our dish. Okay then, it's time to pour our custard onto our bread, butter and raisins, sultanas, fruit. Just let it find its own way down. It will, trust me. Right, and now what I have to do is I have to leave that for about 30 minutes, or at least 30 minutes should I say, to give the custard a chance to actually soak in to all that bread. So we'll be back when we actually put this into the oven. Right then, it's time to cook the bread and butter pudding. It's had a good long rest with the custard soaking into it. So the other ounce of sugar is now going to be sprinkled over the top of the custard. And then I'm going to top it with a little bit more of the cinnamon. As always, that is to taste. Gosh, you know, it was so difficult to get sugar off of a saucer. Right, I'm just going to go with just a touch of cinnamon. That was the Ninja Grill heating. I'm going to be cooking this on bake, so it's no different to doing it in the oven, and that's bake at 180, and that's just told me that it's ready to actually use. Now, I can put it straight in, but because I want my bread pudding to have a little bit of a fluffy consistency, I'm actually going to add some water to the pan here. And if I was doing this in the oven, I would just sit this in a larger baking tray with some water. And this is a bain marie, or a bain marie, depending how posh you want to be. And that will just make sure that your custard, I'm going to switch it on and let it carry on, and that will just make sure that your custard and your bread actually is nice and fluffy. Now, I know perhaps you like the crusty bits that are on the top, but you want the inside souffle like, that's what you want it like, souffle like, and adding the water will, fingers crossed, help that happen. So we'll see you when this is cooked. Right then, we are on the final countdown and we've got 6 seconds left. So let's just keep our fingers crossed that this looks and tastes as good as I'm hoping. So let's take a look. Okay, well, for me, it's definitely looking the part. Let's bring it up so you can see. So it's definitely looking the part. It smells the part. So let's get this dished up and then you'll see it. Well, there we go. A beautiful piece of bread and butter pudding. And you know what? I'm going to pop some cream with it. May be a little too hot to taste at the moment, but as usual, I'm going to burn my mouth for you guys. Yeah, it has got that lovely souffle texture that I wanted. So there we go. Right, well, that's really nice, really nice. I'm going to go and tuck into this. I'd like to say thank you very much for watching. If you've liked the video, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. If you want to see each time we put on a new video, ding that bell down there. And once again, thanks for being in the kitchen with Pen, and I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.